Welcome to another video about SEO on Google. In this video, we're going to be talking about Google AI mode, which you can see up in the top left-hand corner is now available for people only in the United States at the time of recording. So what does it actually look like and what does it do? You can see this is like the regular Google with the links and all of that. Sometimes you see the AI overviews come up here, but now we have this AI mode. So let's go into that and click, and you can see this is the result when you search just Google. It gives you a whole lot of text that you might be interested in and some links over here out to websites. What you can notice is the sources. You can see the sources down. If you can see the sources down here, they are very, very small to see, and nobody is going to click out to website from these sources. You could argue, of course, that some people will go to these sources, to these links, and I think they probably will, but it will be a lot less than what we saw, the links that were just directly going out to other people's websites. So I'm going to show you a few different prompts of what people will be actually searching in Google, as I always have been. Before I do that, I'll let you know about the AI SEO writer that auto publishes to your website. Okay, we will be using this later on to show you how to actually get your website recommended in here. So let's start a little chat, and we're going to ask, what is green tea good for? This is something that I often ask, is like a health benefits of something like this, and I'm sure you do too. Lots of people are searching for information like this. But what we can do in this AI mode, which we couldn't really do in Google before, is ask a second question. So I just said, is it good for men who want more testosterone? You can also record your voice here, so that makes it a lot simpler if you are actually walking around or doing something like that. So we can see here we get our answer here, and we get our green tea and testosterone. So we can, sometimes we just have two queries together, or three or four, or something like that. And the great thing is that you can actually just keep asking more and more questions. So once you get curious about something like this, say, oh, what is DHT? And you can just keep asking and keep going deeper and deeper. So if you just want to ask another question, you say, what is DHT? And then we'll go into a new chat here about what DHT is. So you can just keep going and going for as long as you want. And you can go back up then and see your different sources. But you can see there's not really that much, incentive to go to these websites. I can just get all my information here. And that's what is the big change in SEO. If you are looking at SEO, then it's so important to know how to actually do this and when to write blog posts, okay? Because this type of blog post that these websites have written, it takes a lot of time and effort and money, but really nobody's going to go out to those websites. They're just going to read the information here. So now think about a question like this: what sunscreen is best for my skin and where can I buy it online? Okay, so you could just imagine that somebody is going to Google and asking that question. Now, this is a totally different query because we have a bit of information, but we're looking for a product, and this is where you should be producing content for your website. So you can imagine that this brand here is extremely happy now at this point that they have their result at the very top of Google. In this case, you can see they're coming up here again and again. So now at this point, are they going to go to this box again and say Elta MDU? No, they probably won't. Okay, at this point, then they're going to click on these websites. They see Amazon. Okay, that's a good website. We all know Amazon. And they'll probably look at this and go, okay, I'm going to click here. So did you see the difference between the query? One is an information query where they're just looking for information. They don't really care about products at this point. They know that green tea is green tea, right? They're going to just buy green tea in the supermarket. So you don't really want to start a green tea brand. It's going to be very difficult unless you're excellent at social media. But when there's a question like this, where can I buy it online? That is something that we can work with. Let's think about other queries that maybe people are searching for. So maybe one of the queries that people will be looking at now is compare Elta MD to Blue Lizard. So they're kind of in between these two. Which one is better? And then you can even ask, better for a man in his 40s or 50s or a woman in her 20s. So we can ask something like that. So we can say, which is better for a woman in her 30s? Okay, so we have our decision right at this point. Now we have our links in here. Google is trying to say, okay, now it's time to buy, right? So you can go to buy this, and we have the website. So you can see what happened there. People are finding out a little bit more information, and then Google AI mode knows that it's now time to send it to your website. Okay, so let's think a little bit about how all this is working. So Google is obviously the main idea of Google is just a big place full of information. It stores and sorts information. So one thing you need to think about is like text and information goes in and then websites come out. You have to think as simply as possible. I think a lot about text. Google takes a lot of text, but it also takes a lot of video. So video is super important. At the moment, text is probably a little bit more important, but in the future, I think video will be just as important, if not more important, to the information that Google is searching through going through all these websites and going through YouTube to find all the information it needs to find good recommendations, right? So what we want now as SEOs and publishers is to get our website as the result that comes out. So how do we actually do that? Well, for text, what we can do is publish content. Okay, this is what we've been doing for ages, but we don't want to publish information content because it's just not going to lead us. It's really, really hard for people to be Googling information content or what could be called top of funnel content. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to direct them, to get Google to direct them to our website. So what we want to do is publish bottom of funnel content. So some of this type of content could be best. That might be a little bit more top of funnel. Comparison is really when people are in that mode of going, I already know about these two products, which one is better? So you want to make this article on your website and say my product is better than the competitors, because at that point then Google's going to take this information and say, well, this is better. Google doesn't really understand which product is better. It doesn't know one sunscreen from another. It's just finding all information, text information and video information about this topic and say, okay, this sunscreen seems to be doing very well, so maybe I'll recommend this one. So I'll show you how to make this content now in the best way using AI and automation in a minute, but let's also think about where to publish. So where do you publish this? You want to publish it on your website, but also all around the internet, as many places as you can get it, because like I said, Google is searching for text all around the internet. So you want to publish on somewhere like Medium, on LinkedIn, anywhere that you can publish your website. I would go for niche relevance. So if you're in software development, then somewhere like Dev Post, you know what I mean? Some website that allows you to publish content and is relevant to your niche. So it will also look for video information, and so it'll take transcripts. Gemini is reading transcripts, and when Google has enough power to read all this video content that's coming out every day, it will obviously include that too. So I use this tool called Arvow. I'll leave a link in the first comment down below and a coupon code Connor10, CONOR10, and that will get you an extra 10% discount. So let's see how to actually create this content now. So the first thing you'll do is just test it out, see how the articles actually look. You want to find the right type of article for you. So you can go in here and create an SEO article, or you can just change YouTube videos to blog posts. I do that a lot. It works very well to get traffic to your website. But after that, you'll want to add some information about your company. So you want to add stuff into your knowledge base. You just create a knowledge base, save some information about your company, and then we can add that in later. So after that, we'll go to a campaign, an auto blog. So what you want to do is set up an auto blog. So you get posts every single day. You don't want to publish 100 posts at the same time, but you just want to be publishing out 1 or 2 per day. So what you can do is actually do an article template. So what we do here is go to this one and go to custom template, and we can say, for example, comparison. So to use this, we will use these curly brackets. We use these to add variables, so we can actually set up our template, because we'll always be doing the same thing. We'll always be using Elta MD sunscreen versus another sunscreen. So you can just put in your sunscreen name as the format in your prompt outline and say compare this one to this one. So in this case, with the sunscreen, this could be your brand number 1, compare this one to that one, and then every time these will be mentioned in the article, we'll have our brands that we're talking about. So we can write the article as it always would be, as it's written with this tool, but with these ones actually to go in place of anything else that might be written. And of course, we want to use our knowledge base about our company and add some CTAs and calls to action to buy. So you can even say always recommend sun cream, for example. And if you have any questions about this, you can just read the documentation or watch the video tutorial. So that's it for this video. If you are interested in SEO, then comment down below SEO Google AI mode for the algorithm. And I have a whole other video about ranking in Google AI mode that you can see on screen now. So go watch that now.